Hey everybody, I want to create a little scenario for you at the beginning of this video. Imagine this. So let's say you have passion, you have ideas, and you have the drive to create content, but every single time you sit down, you feel stuck. And then you feel like, should I stream, maybe edit, maybe learn something new, and before you know it, an hour passes and then basically nothing gets done. I know that I've been there several times, and maybe you have, and that's why you clicked on this video, is to be able to set up some goals for you. And maybe you might be overwhelmed by all the possibilities because you don't know where to start. The truth in content creation and the success in it is not about just doing everything all at once and clumping it all together. It's more about setting up a system that works for you, as I've said in previous videos, and something that keeps you moving forward one step at a time. And today I'm going to break down exactly how to structure your goals from short-term to mid and long-term goals, so that you're not just creating content for the sake of it, but you're also growing and learning from it and making sure that it works better. And I want to share at least 5 goals within the short-term goals, 5 within the mid-term goals, and about 3 to 4 for the long-term goals. So I hope you guys stick with me. Let's get started. Alright, so as far as these goals, these short-term goals are always going to be goals that you're going to be focused on the daily or maybe even weekly focused goals. Sometimes they can be monthly, but not always. So for the first one to start out with, the best practice has always been to do 1% more every day, right? And with this, I would actually dedicate 1 hour a day focusing on learning a new skill or creating that type of content, right? You could start with your basics, such as like editing software, OBS, Canva, learning how to do storytelling skills, streaming skills that you've naturally kind of seen other people have. And if you're able to master all of these different types of ways to be able to leverage your content, it's always going to help you in the long run. So basically, I could be learning how to do Adobe, to be able to make emotes for myself to cut costs on maybe making emotes, but you don't necessarily have to. You could also just do Etsy and then buy some emotes, and then you'd be good right there. But I do urge you to learn some type of editing software, because at the end of the day, video content is essentially king. You could also learn how to do social media, figuring out exactly, YouTube algorithms, or even watching videos like these, because, taking your time to be able to learn more about the landscape that you're in is always going to help you in the long run, because you're doing little tiny things to be able to get better at this specific thing. And if you can dedicate an hour at least a day, that's not terrible. I think you could easily do it. Now, depending on if you want to focus more on YouTube versus Twitch, I think is a great idea, because YouTube is essentially where most of your growth should be coming from. And if not, it's going to be from other short form videos, because it's going to come from your TikTok, Instagram Reels, whatever it might be. You're going to be able to leverage that, cross-pollinate into other platforms, and then bring them to your Twitch stream or your live streaming software of choice, right? And you could just stick with YouTube and stay with YouTube is streaming and go from there, but Twitch has a really good way about showing that landscape and the community landscape that they have so well proprietarily owned for so long. They're really good at making and creating communities for people. Now, when you're doing these things to be able to dedicate that 1 hour per day, what I want you to do is also set that time to be able to set your frequency and your consistency, right? You're going to decide on how often you want to post based on your content mediums. Like I said, short form, long form, and your streams, right? Those are your main 3. Because social media posts, you should dedicate time to do those. But if they're not going to be exactly planned and you're just going to kind of be tweeting, I urge you to at least set the frequency of how many times you want to tweet, or I guess it's, X post. Let's not talk about Twitter, but Instagram per se, right? At least posting once per day. Maybe posting something interesting that is about you, or maybe even posting a funny clip or a reel. that's always going to be great, because you're going to slowly see that people are going to notice that, and then they're going to come follow you on your stream. It's not terrible, but you have to be consistent, right? And so you need to be able to decide from the very beginning how much time are you going to be putting into that. And if you're doing all of the above, then just create a weekly goal with all the priorities, and then just make sure that you do your long form content first, right? And the reason why I say that is because long form content is people where they can really get to know you, and then slowly like be able to build that brand with you to be able to see you in a longer form. And then they're gonna see how you are in your streaming content. So the short form content is going to be things that are going to be more attention seeking. They're going to be the things that people are going to notice, and then they're going to come over. And then what are they going to watch once they've come over? Are they going to watch a stream? Or they might not be able to, because they don't have the time of day to be able to do so. So therefore, your long form content is there to be able to establish a point where you have something that they can watch. And then they're going to be like, okay, well, now I'm going to follow them on stream so that I can catch them and maybe talk to them in real time. And most of the time, people are not actually going to do that. Most of the time, they just want to watch your videos because everybody's busy. We live in this society that is just, we live in a society. We live in a society where things are just busy all the time. But if you made a long form content video, they're going to be able to watch it, press pause, and then return to it right after. And if not, then they're just going to put it on play and they're just going to binge it. Now, the third goal that I would urge you to be able to do is engaging with your community. And by this, I mean set kind of a daily goal to try to interact with your followers. You know, you can either DM them or comment, you know, spend time socializing on Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Talk to these creators, get to know them. Build genuine relationships with people on streams and connect with their communities, because then network with like-minded individuals that are doing maybe the same content that you are. And you're going to focus on friendships here. You're not, and I don't ever want to see anybody, you know, climbing a social ladder or getting into groups being like, oh, if I'm with them, then maybe like I'll be able to feed off of their clout or their anything that they might be doing. Maybe I can take that for myself. That doesn't work like that. I want you to genuinely create and cultivate true friendships and relationships, because in the long run, those friendships are going to be your friends, you know? They're going to be acquaintances that you might know. And honestly, a big thing that you could do, and this is a psychological thing, but if you were to ask for somebody for help, or whenever somebody has asked you for help, how does that make you feel? It makes you feel great inside, because it makes you feel valued. It makes you feel like you're actually being, you know, asked to do something that they might not be able to do, and you have the expertise. Being able to offer any type of help like that, maybe could help you in the long run, because you know they're gonna value you in that specific way, or maybe ask them to help you with something. And people really do enjoy that as a whole. And you're not gonna do it as a tactic where it's malicious or evil. You're gonna do it as a, you know, way to be able to be friends with somebody, to be able to create that specific friendship or that connection, to be able to build upon each other, to help you build your goals and further your content journey. It's gonna work out, and I urge you, daily goals, connect with your community. It's not that bad. The next goal that I would talk to you guys about is researching your niche, and that's number 4. So obviously you have a target audience, but if you don't, then this is where you're gonna spend your time really delving into whatever your specific niche enjoys, right? So if I'm a speedrunner, right, what kind of games are the most speedrun type of games? Maybe you really need to study specifically what game you want to speedrun. Say that you're gonna go and you're gonna want to do, for me, it's gonna be Resident Evil 2, right? I really want to do Resident Evil speedruns, right? So what do people in the speedrunning community for Resident Evil enjoy? Right? They enjoy randomizers. That's a part of it, because they like to moderate the game or play their game in a more difficult manner. They also really like hitless runs, because then you can challenge yourself to be able to do something skillful within the game, and you're able to do your speed run. But then maybe you might even come up with a different challenge. Obviously, challenges, right? And in the speedrun community, what do people enjoy with Resident Evil specifically? They like talking about zombies. They like talking about possibly film, maybe even like guns, horror specifically. These are all different things that you're going to be connecting to your audience to be able to understand how they think, how they interact, and how you're going to be able to connect with these people. A lot of the time you're going to slowly just start building that community, and you want to also think about like maybe what other people are doing in that niche as well. Brainstorm how you can add value to it and see how you can differently either formulate plans to be able to research it. You want to focus on, geographical location, possibly, because if you're streaming in the US, and depending on the time frame that you're going to be streaming, then that's also going to affect you, right? You can either research the time that is great, or you can research maybe you are streaming at 3 a.m. and if you're streaming at 3 a.m., you're probably going to have an audience somewhere else in the world. That's the beauty about Twitch and the digital world. You have your platform specifically for global reasons, and you can use that to your advantage, right? You're going to be able to use that to stream to these people. And so now if you're streaming to somebody to the United Kingdom, then you probably want to know how they react to things, or how they, talk about things. I know somebody that's gotten really, really great friend, or somebody that has become really great friends with Australian people, because they were always on at crazy hours of the day. And now some of their best friendships are Australians, and possibly at some point they're going to move there because they've enjoyed it so much. But you need to understand what your time frame is like. You need to understand who you're going to be able to talking to geographically in that sense, psychologically, demographically. If you look at your analytics, make sure you research your analytics. Try to do that on a daily or weekly, monthly basis to be able to understand my target audience for Resident Evil per se is probably going to be somewhere between 25 to 30, right? Maybe 35 if they ended up doing the classic Resident Evils, which were originally released in the 1990s, right? That's an older game. Still good to research, right? If you're going to play a more recent game, the more recent people are going to look at it, but everybody's going to be in it and it's going to be saturated. So anyways, overall, research your niche, look up segmentation as a marketing skill, and look at all the things related to segmentation, and you'll be set. Now, this last goal that I'm going to give you is probably one of the most powerful tools that you can create within your stream, and it's creating user-generated content. Now, with this type of goal, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because I want you to be able to do either a daily, weekly, or monthly goal specifically set to be able to include people from your community to be able to participate in the things that you are doing. For an example of this, it could be maybe you have a fan art competition, right? So if you have a lot of artists in your community, maybe something that they can do is you have a specific character and you write in submissions and you say, hey, for this month the theme is birds, right? Make me the funniest bird thing, and people are gonna have fun with it. They're gonna really enjoy it. Now, make my mascot into a bird, which if it's not already, then that would be funny to see, right? It's a way to be able to create content and then share it onto different platforms too, and be like, wow, my community's hilarious, look at this thing they did, and they're gonna feel super a part of this thing that you created. And another thing that they can do is, let's say, for example, I saw this in somebody's Discord and I really enjoyed it. There was two things. One of the things is they always would have competitions of, hey, post your favorite thing or your favorite movie, and if you do, I'll send you a specific thing, or I'll enter you into a raffle because you commented. It gets people to engage, and it really gets people to be a part of your community, but be able to personally put themselves out there and to be able to feel included. Another thing that you could do is the second thing on Discord, which is maybe this month we're all going to change our name to something funny, to something related with dairy, right? Mine was Illum Munster, which is Munster cheese, and I was like, whatever, somebody else did something, feta cheese, something like that, but that, like, their name was Faye, right? It's so there's things like that, and there's gonna be like possibly stores inside streams, right, where you could redeem stuff. And I know Legend of Zenith, he's a great example of this. He's a really great streamer. He has a whole artificial, or just kind of like a semblance of a digital store where people they redeem their rupees that they got as currency for the stream, and what they'll do is they'll create a randomizer for him to play later. So it's like, hey, shout out to Ninja Gaia for creating this randomizer for us today. Hopefully it's exciting. You get the one person to feel included into your content, and from then on, they're going to feel way more included than they ever would, And not only that, but it's content for you, it's content for them because they feel included, and it creates a really fun social media sphere, right? Or just like a culmination of all the content together. But overall, these goals are going to help you, exceed in whatever you're going to do. Try to stick to daily, weekly, maybe even bi-weekly, but at least within the month. These are the type of goals that you want to set to be able to stay within the grounds of, continuous improvement, 1% every single day, or just gradual improvements that will make you a way better streamer and content creator over time. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to talk about long-term / monthly goals. This category is specifically going to be monthly goals up to a year. And these goals are things that are going to be more long-term goals. But again, this is kind of building yourself up to have long-term success. And these are goals that are going to be generally more difficult because it's going to be a little bit, it has to do with a lot of scheduling and a lot of things that you should plan for the future, but all still kind of go back to the daily / weekly goals as a whole, because everything is going to build upon each other. So let's get started. Okay, to start off, now this is where people are going to start freaking out, because they're going to be like, don't focus on the numbers, but you need to focus on specifically engagement goals. Now, with engagement goals, say, for example, in 3 months, I want to increase my engagement by 10%. How do you do that? So you want to be able to track specifically comments and the way that people interact with your stream, average viewership, possibly unique viewers who are being exposed to your content, impressions. Impressions aren't necessarily the best metric, but they are something to be able to show that people are arriving, and it's not a bad metric, but it's just not one of the best metrics, because you want people to engage. You want to track how many people are talking in your Discord, or maybe somewhere within your comments, in which we already spoke about. But essentially, being able to create more conversation, to be able to be engaging in everything that you're doing, because the more that they engage with things, the better off your whole content is going to be, because the algorithm is going to like it a lot more when you can figure out ways to have people feel included, right? And a lot of the times, it just depends on how you want to do it. There's various methods, and maybe you're gonna say, this month I want to be able to have people join me on stream to be able to play a specific game. That's an engagement. That is still good. So that is engagement goals. So the next long-term monthly goal that I would want to talk about is basically figuring out who you want to collaborate with and who you want to network with. This kind of has to deal with, you're already doing your daily interactions, you're already interacting with these people, but you want to be able to end up doing more collaborations that are bigger, on a bigger scale, right? You want to be able to maybe plan events together, such as like, oh, we're gonna have a race on this specific month, or focus on like relationship building, or just like figuring out a joint way to be able to share content creation ideas, or planning like a joint project, and being able to come together to be able to do these specific events, to bring communities together, to like really then create like a pool of people that can, you know, enjoy the same things that you're already doing, which, you know, by this point you should be having these fun moments, right, where you can, you know, coexist and be together and create content. I mean, a lot of examples with this would be like offline TV for a while, esports organizations. You know, if somebody's on a team, then they're going to collaborate with the other one. Obviously, they're going to play on the same team. And it's like, I have my fans, you know, and then a teammate is also going to get my fans. But if we bring it all together, that'd be awesome. Or maybe I'm going to do a race in the future with speedrun. You know, games done quick could be a future collaboration that you could technically do. You want to reach out to them for a speedrunning event, you could be like, yeah, let's do this. It doesn't even have to be some type of event like that. It could maybe like, hey, would you like to make a YouTube video together at some point? Or just like, do you want to do this project together? And eventually those are going to grow your channel pretty significantly. The idea of this is to be able to commingle and be able to expand together and do things that you truly enjoy. So collaborate, find good networks, and, you know, keep doing what you're doing daily, but expand it to future goals that you can do on a bigger scale. This goal is pretty much the exact same thing as the frequency, consistency type of goal, but I want you to just put it more in a grand scale, because, you know, if you do everything 1% every single day, obviously you're going to hit your goal, but you should aim for that target regardless. So what I would say is, say I want to make one video per week for 3 months, something like that, something that's specific and measurable to be able to really kind of paint a picture of how many you want to do in a year. So if I'm making one video a week, then that means that I'm going to be making 52 videos in this next year, and then you just slowly start counting that down, right? You'd be like 52, 51, 50, 40, 50, or 49, 48, and so on. This way you understand kind of a grander scheme of being able to have your small consistent goals, but then your higher goals where it kind of counts backwards. And I think that this is a very effective way to do it, because then you realize, oh, this is how much I've actually done, rather than just keeping up with it daily, because it could get overwhelming, right? If you commit to it every single day, maybe you might not be able to do it, but if you have a grander scale of 52 goals or 52 videos per year, maybe one day you actually end up making 2 in a week, right? You take a break and you're able to make 2 to 3 videos in a week, and so you're already caught up to what your original goal was going to be without doing the small little consistent efforts, and you did a bigger effort that week. And you could even do that to get ahead of yourself too, which I do urge you to do, where it's like, I'm gonna do 3 videos a week, but I'm only gonna set my goal for 1. Obviously you should shoot for the sun regardless, and you won't miss on your target. This way you have a grand scheme of where you want to be and the small efforts to lead to it. This next goal is one of my favorite goals, because I am currently a financial advisor. I am a loan trained officer at my bank, so I really like talking about finances. And this is a very big, important one, because I think sometimes we are saving up this money that we're getting from content creation or for our streaming, and we just kind of waste it on whatever we're going to spend, right? I want you to reframe it to a way where you can actually use it more as an investment. I could not be where I am today if it wasn't for the kindness and for the greatness of all of my community members. This camera, Sony a6000, got it from my streaming through a dono goal, and a lot of the components of my PC specifically to be able to stream have also been through my community helping me out. and helping me reach my goals, and I'm able to now make crazy good quality videos because you guys helped me. So thank you so much, honestly. And I can never be more grateful for that today. And I couldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. I started on a very beat up camera, Logitech C920 with a Blue Yeti microphone, and now I'm with this nice little low profile boom mic arm stand, and this great camera, AT2020 solo 2i2 Focusrite. I could keep going on. Regardless, you want to be able to reinvest your profits, maybe keep a little bit for yourself because you earned that, but I would urge you at the very beginning to be able to use that to reinvest in yourself, to be able to try to make it bigger, because if you do reinvest it, then the outputs that you're going to have in the future are going to be way more astronomical. Say I get $200, right, through a donation goal. Honestly, what I would do is I would set up a website domain, and say that I learned how to do SEO, how to do more with blogging, and I can make this into a experience where I can gain the skills to be able to do website design. But not only that, I'm also able to put ads and be able to navigate regular Google search engines to be able to crawl on my page, to be able to then bring even more traffic onto my Twitch stream or YouTube. And from there, just increased your viewership by a certain percentage, right? And you're also going to earn more money in total, because say you have affiliate partnerships with these companies and you're able to sell some of the stuff on your website. And now you have regular people that don't even come to your stream, go to your website, buy this product, and then you're able to make back the money that you got through that one donation. That's just one example. So hopefully that makes sense. If you guys want me to talk more about that type of stuff, I would be more than happy to, but let me know. Let's move on to the next goal though. Now, this last goal for the midterm goals is being able to create your own events. This kind of goes back to user generated content, but this time it's going to be more grand scale. Like, you can kind of see a pattern here, right? You want to start small, do things daily to be able to lead to these bigger, greater things. So what this one is going to be is setting long-term goals to host community events like a charity stream, or maybe a subathon, or maybe some type of fundraiser that you want to plan for the future to be able to help maybe support a local cause. And it doesn't even have to be something like a fundraiser, charity. It could also be something that you just want to do as a crazy big event while inviting as many people as possible. So it's like, I am going to do this crazy challenge, please follow me as we do this, right? Say that I'm gonna do the Hot Ones challenge on stream in 3 months, and you just keep talking about it over and over again. I'm gonna do a Hot Ones stream while running down the sidewalk and like skating, something like that. It's got to be big, right? You want to set up these bigger events, because in these bigger events you're gonna find a lot more interesting viewership. You're gonna find things that maybe you can even branch out, and you can do things on a grander scale to be able to have more people come to your stream and be like, wow, I really enjoyed this person, even though they did this one thing this one time. It might be able to have more people stick around because of it. An example of this, this kind of came out of nowhere. I think Kai Cenat was trying to do this for a while, but let's say Kai Cenat, he recently did a Batman marathon, right? I don't know if he was planning to do that at any point, but I'm pretty sure in the background he did write this down, and he did plan this for a future event, and he did a Batman marathon on all of the games that he was going to do. But not only that, he ended up setting up skits. He ended up renting out a Batmobile to be able to do these specific things and show off what he can do. And he can do that as freely as he wants, because he's built this community and this great way to be able to reinvest and show people some really cool stuff on his stream, and he's got the personality for it, right? Try to plan bigger things, right? Try to plan on showing people that, hey, I am here, invite your friends because I'm doing this great event. I mean, there's been times too where I've invited people in real life to be able to join me sometimes on my streams to be able to do a charity stream event, and they hit me with a pie in the face, and I gained some viewership in that moment of time, and I gained some really good friendships at that moment. Did they really ever come to my streams as often anymore? No, because I haven't been consistent. But they do still follow me on socials, and they still will remember that moment for maybe the rest of their lives, right? They're gonna know about that specific thing that we did, and it's gonna be, a memory of you or the channel, something fun that they did at some point in time. Try to do bigger events, bigger community challenges, and you'll see how it has a very interesting impact on the rest of your content creation goals. Now we're going to talk about long-term growth goals. Now, with these goals, these are going to be from 1 year and forever, infinity, up until your death maybe. Like, if you want to go deep into the content creation game, these are the things that I would be thinking about to be able to understand what you want to do for the future. Let's get into it. So the very first one that I want to talk about, and there's going to be 3 goals. The first one is optimizing your time, right? So at this point, hopefully you started to see some growth. At this point, you may not. It might take you a while to get to this point. If you're starting to get a decent income, remember how we talked about being able to reinvest your wealth to be able to figure out how you can expand more and do more. In previous examples, I highlighted Kai Senat's team, how we're able to reinvest our money. So what I would suggest is being able to use some of that wealth to be able to outsource tasks such as video editing or social media management, to be able to do what you enjoy doing, which is content creation, right? You're the face of your content. You have a team. You could hire a team to do these things and to also collaborate with them to really understand where you're coming from and to build off of each other and to use basically any way that you can cut costs, right? If you want to be able to reduce timing in one thing, then you're going to hire somebody and delegate tasks to that person and figure out ways to be able to streamline that process so that you can focus more on what you like to do. This is way ahead of its time. I don't even know if I'll get there. I would hope that one day I could get there. That would be my goal. I hope that you guys make it too. But let's move on to the next one. So the next one, the second one, is say you have a YouTube or a Twitch personality, right? And say that this personality isn't a personal one at all. This one is that maybe your name is, I don't know, Nighthawk52, right? That's your username. And then you probably don't want to keep that forever. Eventually, what you should do is you should probably create it into a personal brand or maybe even a business entity. So the way that I would think about it is, you would want to establish your website, set up affiliate marketing, sponsorships, start about all the different types of collaborations you want to do as far as companies go, develop your personal brand to be able to expand on your horizons and to diversify your income and create new revenue streams to be able to maybe sell a product, right? So you'd want to sell a product or a service depending on whatever it might be. Some people do coaching, and if you want to do a product, that's the way that I personally would go, is that you want to create a product with the wealth that you have received and to be able to then sell that to people, right? An example of this can be, let's say, an esports coach, right? An esports person, they retire, they no longer play the game as often, but they do one-on-one sessions where they offer their services to be able to coach newer players into the game that they're in. And let's do a second example. Let's talk about, Mr. Beast is such a difficult example for that, but he has several product lines but he has Feastables, right? Or Logan Paul with his Prime drink. You know, they all created a product because they had the wealth to be able to create that product and then create a revenue stream once they've, you know, created these teams to be able to make this specific product to then sell it and gain more wealth over time. And at this point, you're starting to have a life, you know, you're starting to further your goals and create things that are way bigger and as best as you can imagine, right? This is the point where hopefully, you know, you can relax a little bit more and you could be like, my company's doing its thing. I can't believe I went from this to this, and it would be very impressive. Again, this is way further into the future, and sometimes people will not even hit the revenue streams for it, but these are the type of goals that you want to shoot for in total. Let's go to the last one, and just before we start, appreciate you watching this video. If you're not already liking, commenting, or subscribing on the channel, please do so. I would appreciate that. We do tech reviews and marketing tips and tricks for content creation, and I hope you guys don't mind listening to my voice. And I just kind of do this for fun, but at the same time, everything that I talk about is things that I have planned for my mind every single day, and I like to do this to give value to you guys, and also because I enjoy it. So thank you so much for supporting me. So this last one is kind of more of it's kind of sad, but it's not necessarily bad. But you want to be able to think about your legacy, right? At some point in the future, you're gonna come to a crossroads of, when am I gonna stop content creating, right? When am I gonna retire, essentially? Some people just end up not streaming anymore, and then they just ghost everything. Some people, sometimes they end up getting, unfortunately, some type of illness, and when that happens, you know, all that there's left is like maybe just one message just saying, sorry guys, this is it, and I loved my time with you, and I hope you enjoyed it, because you're the face of that content, right? And you're gonna be remembered forever for that, and there's gonna be people to this day that are probably gonna be sad about it. Maybe you want to even consider a second thing, which is handing off your content to somebody that you trust, or passing the baton to another creator to keep your work alive, to be able to, you know, live the life of whatever your vision was, and to keep doing that. An example of this would be the Game Theorist, right? Matt Pat, he no longer does it. He left it over to, I forget her name. After this time, it's like he's spending time with his family because his family means everything to him. And at this point, you know, he's not doing that anymore. He's not the front facing person for his content. And at this point, he's letting it be. And you need to be able to find that exit plan, or something to be able to pass that on, or set up things for in case something bad happens. But just remember, there should be something to be able to say goodbye, or to leave it to rest. Maybe you're gonna start a family and you have a whole thing prepared. Some people just do it on the fly. Some people just say, having a family, I've realized that streaming has been too much at this point, and you know, it's not necessarily for me. I've really enjoyed my times, goodbye. And it's just so abrupt, and it's so sad, right? And I wish that there was more creators to just be like, all right, well, I'm officially gonna make a final stream, and we're gonna celebrate it. And there are some that do that too, and we're gonna do as much as we can, you know, look back at all our clips and have fun and remember the time that we had together. And it's really cool to see. Obviously, you're probably gonna have to do a mix of both. There's something to be thinking about, because maybe you don't want to be doing this for 3, 5, even 10 years. I personally want to be an old grandpa talking on YouTube still, if I can. I'm gonna be that guy. And it's just because it's something that ever since I started doing it back in 2018, sincerely loved it. It's the reason why I chose my career. It's the reason why I wanted to do everything. And I still haven't reached the goals that I want to, but I eventually do. And I hope that I still can. Right now, I don't know. There's things that I need to analyze and I need to do it, but as far as it goes, I think my YouTube journey just barely started, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And I'm analyzing it, seeing what I can do better, and if at any point you guys have feedback for me, I love to hear it, and I appreciate it. Even in the last couple of videos, Carl, thank you so much for teaching me more about how to set up my product reviews. I actually recently bought a gimbal to be able to, do the videos a lot better, so thank you so much for that, and I honestly appreciate it, so thank you. Overall, use these goals to be able to create a better you and to make something amazing. And I truly think that eventually, if you do the little things, you'll amount to the big things all the way to the end, and you'll make your content shine. So if you didn't have a roadmap, now you do. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, like, comment on the video if you enjoyed it. Tell me what kind of goals would you have said differently and what makes you keep going. So subscribe. I'll see you guys all in the next one. I don't know what kind of tech review I'm gonna do next. I don't know yet. I'm gonna do some more research, but also I stream on Twitch. Don't forget about that. I am thinking recently, and this is for everybody that's still watching the video, that on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Saturdays, what I want to do, and something I might switch up during this next quarter, is do Resident Evil hitless speedruns, trying to get better at not getting hit at all, and I want to see if I could do it. So stay tuned. Go follow me, Illuminallen, on Twitch and all socials. Check me out on my website, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.